The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Mark and Mark in the Midday. We've got a treat for us this week because we actually have back in studio, we have my partner Mark Littell who's back from Cuba, and we'll talk about that in our next show, but I just wanted to welcome him back. Today's guest, we have Kevin Pasley, who actually played for the Dodgers and Seattle. He played for them in the late 70s, early 80s, and then was, I believe, in Toronto and Detroit's minor league chain for a while as well. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's good talking to you and Mark and Mark. Sounds good.
Excellent.
Well, there's a lot of things I see about Kevin Pasley, and I know we missed each other because either we were in the American or National League separate, or the opposite, vice versa. And it's good to actually sit here and look at what you've done in baseball so much. You've played a lot of minor league baseball. So the funny thing about that is that how many pitchers did you go through? I mean, I know you've got some stories because you're in the major leagues as well, and so you've got some stories about some of the really good pitchers out there that you've actually caught and gone to battle for. I mean, just you got any of your mind?
Absolutely. I must have put in when I was playing. It was amazing. I loved the game, and I signed when I was 18 years old, and I played all year round. In fact, I did go up when I was 20 to the LA club, and Mr. Campanis told me, he said, Kevin, if you want to be in the big leagues next year, you have to go to Winnable. So I packed myself up and went over to Mexico and played in the Liga Pacifica. And I did that 4 straight years. I never got a day off. I mean, I must have caught summer, whole winter. And that was kind of, a little tedious on the body a little bit. I didn't have much time to recuperate, but they thought that would be best for me. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. I wanted to play, that's what I did. I just wanted to play ball, and I got the great opportunity to do so. And I did catch a whole bunch of great pitches. No doubt about that.
What were some of those clubhouses like over in Mexico, by the way? Because I just got back from Cuba. So I imagine you saw some real interesting clubhouses.
I was looking at your Facebook page, and I was looking at the photos, and Havana looks like a beautiful city, and so many baseball people. I mean, the folks there absolutely love the game, obviously, and I'm sure they relished your being there and your crew. And I had that opportunity also with the Major League people to go down to Monterrey, Mexico, when Fernando was pitching for the Dodgers against the Monterrey club, and it was the little left-hander, the excellent left-hander for the Milwaukee Brewers was pitching for the Mexican club. Fernando was pitching for LA. It was a spring training game, an exhibition game. And the place was going crazy. Yeah, the place went nuts, and we helped the kids, learn about the game, and they were just excited to see, Major League players. So that was a fun thing.
When you were down in Arizona, you got down in Arizona with this with the alumni thing, I know out there, because that's a big thing. I know the baseball alumni in the state of Arizona, and also they got the association going on. You were talking about the association, what they've done, because I'm very much aware of the association, because I think the one you're talking about is the one that switched from California and came over to Arizona in the past, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's called the Association of Professional Ball Players of America, and they're different from what they do is they help players, ex-players, ex-coaches, ex-umpires, anyone who's played or been in a professional atmosphere in baseball. If they're in need of some assistance at the present time, they need only ask, and these guys go out of their way to help those folks. And it's just a great organization. Major league players and minor league players also, can contribute during the season to help help fund them, because it's all contributions from the actual athletes today and the public. But they do help a lot of people. And they're now based in Scottsdale, but they help everybody around the country, no matter where they are. And not just figures, anyone. So they do a heck of a job. I just wanted to mention that because I've been working with them a little bit myself, and it's a pleasure to do so.
No.
Hey, Kev, I was going to say, Kev, you had the good fortune of being with the Dodgers, I guess, during the 70s when that team was just like the cream of the crop. They were battling the Reds out every year for the West and also for the NL pennant. And you must have, like Mark always talks about, like guys that you played with. You must have caught some really good guys. Like you must have caught like Sutton and Tommy John and those fellas.
Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, I'm from Long Island now, and I love the Rangers, love the Giants, but when I was growing up, I loved the Yankees. So Al Downing was one of the great pitchers for the Yankees at the time when I was growing up. And I go up to the big leagues at the age of 20, and the first Dodger pitcher I caught in a game was Al Downing. And it was just fabulous. Gentleman Al, I know why they call him that, because he is that. And it was fabulous. It was just a thrill to be out there, first of all, in Dodger blue, with that ball club. And second of all, to be catching him initially, it was just fabulous.
Wow.
When I went out to the mound, he used to tell me, "Take it easy, Kevin." He's telling me to relax. So he was a great guy. And that was the thrill. I was in Houston, Texas. So my first time I ever went on a ball field and played, actually in a game.
Well, I think we're not going to talk today about anything that has to do with Houston and the Dodgers in this show.
Oh, yeah, I had to mention that, though. Okay. It's verboten now, I know. 10 bums have to wait till next year now.
Yeah,
as they say in the 50s. Wait till next year.
Well, you know what? They will have to wait till next year, and I'd rather focus on the good times that you had in Major League and minor league baseball than talk about our collective Dodger misery that we had to suffer through last night. That's for sure. So,
right. Okay.
So you actually sat behind. I guess you had Yeager and Ferguson ahead of you, and obviously those two guys were they were the front line guys. Did you view them as a roadblock, or did you view them as guys that you could learn from as well?
Well, it's certainly I thought in my opinion Steve Yeager is one of the best catchers in the modern era. Right now, I still think he's one of the best catchers that ever played. I respect his game tremendously. Folks said he didn't hit much. Well, he hit pretty well in the World Series when he went back-to-back with Say, and I think he was co-MVP with her, I'd say. So,
yep. And
he had a hell of an arm, and he would help me out, and I would watch him. He played tremendous defense. He was into the game completely, and you can't help but learn from a guy like that. And Ferguson, Joe was playing the outfield a lot. He was playing right field. He used to just kind of fill in for Yeager, and occasionally, depending on the situation, I didn't see a lot of action the first year I was there. We were battling Cincinnati, and of course Philadelphia had a great club too. Although one of my greatest thrills of my short career up there, it was a packed house in Philadelphia. And Jim Cott was pitching for them. And what happened was, Bo was on the up at bat, and it's a nothing game. Sizemore is on first base, and he's trying to bunt him over. So he bunts the ball toward our dugout. It was a pretty long run over there in Philly. But I got on my horse, I jumped, I dove out, I caught it. And it was just like back in Albuquerque. I didn't, think about the 58,000 people screaming in the stands or anything like that. But it was exciting as heck. I got a hit that game, and we got beat 1-0 because Teddy Sizemore, who's going to be a Dodger later, got a big hit in the late innings to beat us 1-0, beat Bert Hooten. But that was a great thrill too. I enjoyed that. And Mike Schmidt hit a pop-up behind home plate. That was, it was like it went so high I couldn't see it. I said, is it ever going to come down? I thought it was going to, land on my head or something. And it came down like a bullet, and you could hear it. And then, bam, it just hit my glove, and it was like an explosion. And I was fortunate enough to stay there. It was a little shaky there. The ball was hit high. But it's amazing how even a young player like myself at that time, surrounded by, a huge crowd and playing with the greatest team in the world against one of the greatest teams in the world. What a thrill that was, just to be on that field, representing the Dodgers and, putting forth a good effort and have a good game. It was just an exhilarating feeling.
Now, I got to think.
That was Lasorda, right, as your manager? Lasorda? At that time?
Lasorda. Well, the first year I played, when I went up there, I played for Walter Alston.
Oh,
and then
really?
Tommy took over the next year.
Now, that's a difference in
managers. So I got a
managers.
taste of Smoky, too. Woo! You got that right.
I got to say, that's got to be two different personalities, because Alston was probably old school and stoic, and Tommy was always doing a monologue.
Absolutely. I mean, incredibly. You didn't hear... I didn't hear Alston talk, very much. I mean, he'd say, "Hey, Kevin, how you doing?" occasionally. But Tommy was like, "Kevin," he says, "Pasley, get over there." In the middle of Vero Beach, you have all the fans just, surrounding us. They're allowed to walk right amongst us, in those days. And Tommy used to say, "Pasley, get on your knees and tell these people how much you love the Dodgers." And so I had to play a game to get on my knees and, raise my arms to the sky. I love LA. I love LA. I love being a Dodger. Big Smokey would ever do that. The Alston wouldn't play that way.
Neither would the rest of baseball.
But it was fun. Tommy was, he was no matter pitch, he knew what he was doing. The guys loved playing for him. And, I'm glad he's still rocking and rolling it to this day. So once a Dodger, always a Dodger. Tommy's one of the greatest.
Well, he was good. He was good for Los Angeles, that's for sure.
I got to ask you this: you went from being a New York guy just like me out to L.A. So you weren't intimidated by the big crowds because of the fact that you grew up in New York and you're a Long Island guy. But how much different was the lifestyle going from New York to the other coast?
Wow. Yeah, I tell you what, it was a little stunning because I left right out of high school on Long Island and signed with LA and went out to Medford, Oregon initially and played in the Northwest League. And, once I was kind of stunned because, I was the All-American kid in high school. I'll go to school and play ball, play 3 sports. And when I got out there, I went into the locker room, and a lot of my teammates, a little bit older, they're smoking cigarettes, they have a beer, and I'm going, what the heck are you guys doing? You can't be drinking tobacco? What's going on? I get a little taste of, these guys are older, and, they're human beings. And it was just the nature of the beast. That was a little bit shocking. But believe me, I overcame that and realized the business of the game itself. But it was a lot of fun. There's nothing like going on the field when the place is packed. And when you played for LA in those days, every game we played, every night we went into a ballpark, it was packed. Because that club was really an outstanding one. And no matter who we played, whether it be a low echelon club or, the Philly club or Cincinnati, it was very exciting.
Those games against the Reds. Those games against the Reds, though, had to be intense.
I remember going into the Reds, the visiting clubhouse, and it's of course all red. It's totally red. It's red, carpet, walls, the whole thing. And then you have to walk down you walk down a hallway, and then you go up a flight of stairs, and you're going to the dugout. And all you see is blue sky. And then all of a sudden you just hear the hum of the crowd. Even before batting practice, the place was half full. And we used to take a beating verbally when we came on the field, because the Reds and the Dodgers in those days, were definite rivals. But there was no animosity. I don't remember any Dodger players, bad mouthing any Red players. And I remember, before the, when guys would work out in the outfield, just loosen up, guys would talk to each other. There was no real animosity at all. There was a little bit.
You had Vince over there, didn't you? You had Vince at the time, was there? The other catcher. Chuck was Cincinnati.
It was Bench and Plummer. Plummer was there for years, and didn't have to worry about getting. He played maybe once a month. Because I did play with Bill in Seattle.
Right.
He's a great guy. He's a good, solid player, no question. But nobody's going to take Bench's job. Not the way he could hit.
Right.
So it was pretty awesome, pretty amazing, and you can, Mark, you know exactly what I'm talking about when you go up against a high echelon club. You were on, a couple of great ones. When guys come up to playing against the Royals, you just go down that lineup, and every gosh darn guy in that batting order is a scary guy. And that's exactly what I was thinking about with the Reds. You got Morgan, you got Rose, you got Concepcion, and then you got Foster and Bench and Perez. Geronimo, and it never stops. This is a little hair-raising. I can tell you what, it was exciting, though.
Well, it's not like you guys didn't have a good lineup either.
I'll tell you what, unbelievable. We were loaded, too. Our ball club was, you got Monday, and you got Reggie Smith in the outfield. I mean, Toy Cannon was there, too. Occasionally he played for the Dodgers those days. We had Dusty Baker, Monday, and Reggie Smith. Darby Loeb, Russell. You can say that in your sleep.
Yep.
That was going for 20 years. Yeager and that pitching staff. I mean, those were some battles.
Hershiser was there as well, wasn't he? Hershiser? A little later.
He was there by the 80s.
Yeah, he's later than me. I left LA and went to Seattle like in 78. And Dora was there in the 80s with Fernando.
Now I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, good.
I got to ask you this question. So you go from the pinnacle of baseball, which is playing for the Dodgers during their heyday in the 70s, to the expansion era team of the Seattle Mariners, just trying to stay afloat. How did the mindset change?
I'll tell you what, it's an outstanding question, and I talk about this, a lot. You go from one of the great ball clubs of its era to literally one of the poorest clubs, and an expansion team. When I got the call, I was at Cincinnati. Al Campanis called me in my room and said, "Kevin, we just outrouted you to Seattle." And I said, I felt a little bit, but I said, "Thank you, Lord," because it's about, this was in 78, in 1976, I was, I hit 321. I led the league in triples. I was, had more ABs than anybody in the league in the Pacific Coast League. I was an All-Star catcher for 4 in a row. I mean, there's only so much I could do there. And finally they gave me a chance, and I went to Seattle, and I felt comfortable there. It seemed as if, those players were they were a little looser in regards to communicating with their fellows in regards to new guys. When you're a young player in LA, they were concentrating and focusing on one thing, and that is the opponent and winning. Winning that night and winning a championship. And, sometimes it felt like, they didn't go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. A couple people did, for sure, but some people, they didn't care, which is fine. And then I went to Seattle, and I just felt more comfortable playing there as a teammate because I played a lot, and I was called upon to, put forth contribute. In LA, I didn't get many ABs in the first year I went up, and in the second year, I really didn't play a lot up there. So I was happy that they gave me the opportunity in Seattle. And hitting the Kingdom is, you gotta love it if you're an offensive player. If you're a pitcher, well, Mark can get away with it because he throws gas, but,
Not anymore. Not anymore. They actually hit me now. I'm kidding.
I never faced you, Mark, because if I had, you drop down on me, man. I'd have to take a deep breath before I get in there.
Well, I don't know. We all had some fun back then because, when I'd step out there on the mound and I'd check out the hitters and you just look at that body language sometimes and you say, gee, this guy's got a pretty good body language. He's pretty sure of himself right now. So, you sit there and watch that stance and watch the hands. And, what I really hated as a pitcher was when they took a pitch. I always wanted to try to read the swing. And they take a strike, and I say, "Gosh, dog, give me that ball back. I want you to take a freaking swing, and at least tell me the swing you got, and and hopefully you didn't make contact with the barrel." So on the sweet spot, anyway.
Yeah, I tell you, you two are guys, that's for sure. Broke a lot of bats. I remember that. What ball club you guys played? You played on South Carolina, some dynamite teams. Especially those, I'll never forget that Royal team, man. Wow. Loaded with talent. Those fabulous ball clubs. And Freddie Pasley could play a little bit too. I put him right there.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Freddie was actually on the show with us about a couple of months ago, and you know what? Freddie's stats don't tell the true Freddie story, because what a great guy, number one. I don't have to tell Mark that, because he's a teammate, but just the stories he told us and just how he respected the game and even helped work with a guy who he knew was going to take his own position from him a year later. What a great player.
Oh, yeah, he was just outstanding, and, I think about, players who really were not statuesque in regards to physique. I mean, when I first looked at Ron Say, I didn't know who he was, and I walked up to a buddy and I said, "Who's that guy? The little guy. He's not little, he's built like a brick wall, and he's got like 0.5% body fat and the quickest hands in the world, and he walked like a penguin." So the guy's walking like a penguin. I said, "Yeah, that's why they call him a penguin." He said, "What? Really?" And he said, "This guy can really rake," and he did. But then when I think about Potsdam, he could hit. He didn't hit with a lot of power, but he could hit a home run now and then. But then I think of this Altuve, just to get back to an amazing player. He's just not a big man, but gee whiz, the guy can outright, flat out rake. And with power. He's just a tremendous athlete, great player, and a good leader, great leader, really. And I think he's going to win the MVP. But just goes to show kids, you don't have to be, big and strong like Aaron Judge. You can be whatever you want. Whatever God gave you, you can use. If you love the game and you can play a little bit, they'll give you an opportunity to play. You'll get your shot.
I know she played in San Antonio one year. Did you like that Texas League travel? Because that's quite a bus ride. In the Texas League, anyway.
I'll tell you what, I would have loved to play in the Texas League, Mark. When I played, we were in Waterbury, Connecticut, and it was cold, and we played in a track. It was really a track stadium, and it wasn't very comfortable. The next year I went to El Paso, and I would have liked to play in the Texas League, but the Eastern League was a little bit tougher because, of course, when you play in the Boston team in Bristol, you had guys like Freddie Lynn was on that club, Jack Baker. You had, of course, Jimmy Rice, who's one of the greatest right-handed hitters I've ever played against.
Yep.
Along with Pedro Guerrero, another great right-handed hitter. But they had a great ball club. And, you can hit 320 in Albuquerque, but you get down to Waterbury and you hit 270, that's a good year. You know what I mean? It's a different atmosphere. And, guys, I hit 321, 314 in Albuquerque, 300 every year. But, then the scouts and the upper echelon would always say, well, played in that high atmosphere. atmosphere, and you just, take that down to an Eastern League situation, and he's probably a 2-whatever hitter. But be it as it may, as long as they get a shot to play up there, it was all good.
Isn't that kind of like what happened with the Dodgers? A lot of their prospects would hit like 320, 35, 40 home runs in that thin air. And then they would flip them and send them to somebody else and bring a pitcher in for a return, and then the guy goes to some other team and hits like 240 or 250.
Well, I remember, when you think about some of the great Dodgers who played and had tremendous years in Albuquerque, like Mike Marshall.
Yep.
He had 40 home runs in Albuquerque and hit 338, something like that. And he parlayed it into a good offensive years again in L.A. Guerrero is one, like I said. There's 3 guys. There's another guy that I really thought was one of the greatest, Jack Clark. In fact, you probably played with Jack. Mark, did you play with Jack Clark in St. Louis?
No, I didn't miss Jack. I just pitched against him. I didn't like throwing to him, actually, because, the ball would travel late, and he'd swing, and he'd foul it off, so I said, well, screw you, you're getting a slider, so I fell with it.
Absolutely, he could absolutely rake. He was one of the greatest. He Jimmy Rice, and Pete Guerrero, 3 of the best right-handed hitters I've ever anybody's ever going to see.
It's extremely fast hands. Extremely fast.
Were both of you guys shocked that it took so long for Jim Rice to make the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's a good ball player. He's a great ball player, he played in a very special park. It was a short porch. I never, I don't know. I never thought about Jim. I never thought about that too much, actually. That's a great question. To tell you the truth. So,
well, I personally think that Boston had its own attitude toward the minority player at the time, and Jimmy was absolutely. I think. That ball club they had in Boston with you had Rice, you had Dewey and Wright. The Rooster was playing. You had great hitters. And Cecil Cooper was there too. They had a great ball club. And Jimmy, and then Freddie Lynn. Wow. I thought Rice, like I said, I revere him as one of the top right-handed hitters ever lived. And I would have liked to see him up there a little bit faster, but it doesn't make any difference if you make it. As long as you don't make it posthumously, I'd rather see a guy make it when he's alive. And I think he definitely deserves it, no question about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one guy from that team you might have left out, that Yaz fella.
I forget what number 8. The old man from Iceland, Long Island, and he became a Yankee hater, a Yankee killer, but he was a Yankee fan. But then he got rid of that notion real quick when he went over to Boston.
Kev, that's what I was going to ask you about. Since you grew up and played in Long Island, were you compared to Yaz? Because obviously he was the great star that came out of Long Island. Did you hear that name a lot?
Well, I heard, of course, everybody who knew baseball, who played in those years, like myself, we all revered Yaz. We knew he was from the island. But nobody's ever said that this guy hits like Yaz. I can't say that. That's not the case. But I remember guys I played with there. You might know Tommy Bianco. There's a man named Tommy Bianco was the first-round pick from the Milwaukee Brewers the year I signed, 1971. He was a catcher also, and he signed with the Brewers and played a lot of years in the major leagues. Well, it's nice when you get drafted, in the first round. I got drafted in the 26th round. I was like 690th pick.
Wow.
My dad said, he's going to go to St. John's. He's going to go to St. John's University. Yeah. I'm going to play for Jack Kramer. And I said, I want to sign. My mother was crying in the living room the day I signed a contract in my house. I got $10,000. I went out to Medford in mid-June after I graduated high school. And on my birthday, July 22nd, I didn't cover my left, it was my right thumb. I didn't cover it it was a home play, collision at the plate. I carried the guy out, but I didn't cover the right hand. He tore ligaments in my right thumb. I thought I was finished. That was it. I thought I was done. I went to instructional league, and next year I was in Daytona, next year I was in AA, next year AAA. After the AA year, I went up and got a cup of coffee. So they moved me up pretty quick. And, I was up there when I was the third year. So right after AA, I went up for a cup of coffee, and it was the most exciting time of my life at that point.
Did you ever face Guidry or somebody off the Yankees right there? Some of those guys, Guidry, or there's so many good pitchers back then. I mean, really were. Catfish, even Blue Moon, Oakland guys.
It was exciting when they came into Seattle. The Yankees came into Seattle.
Right.
Believe it or not, we beat them up. We beat them pretty good in Seattle. We beat them more times than we lost. And we didn't win in one game in 2 years in New York. But I remember going out to Yankee Stadium. We took tryouts at Yankee Stadium, when I was in high school. But here I am with the Mariners, and we're playing, I'm out in the outfield, and Sparky Lyle calls me over. He wants to talk to me. Let me say hi, him and Tidrow, and I'm talking to these guys. Guidry's out there. I'm in awe, because I'm the big ball here, and I've been a Yankee fan my whole life. But I got one story to tell you about that. I played. My father and all my friends were in the stands right behind the visiting dugout, and I was called upon to catch in the later innings. It was a tie ball game, and it ended up being there's two plays that I remember. I was catching. It was Nettles was on first. And he's a slow runner, but he got off to a big lead, and then he kind of slipped a little bit. And I took the ball. I didn't throw it. I just ran at him because he started moving towards second. So I left home, and I just ran at Nettles, and we got him going back to first base. But I tagged him out. I ran all the way out there, and then ran him down to first and kind of dove at him and tagged him out. So that was exciting. I really enjoyed that. And then we had the winning run on second base. And then they walked the guy. It was my turn to hit for the first time at Yankee Stadium. And Big Goose was on the hill, Wisconsin. And I said, he's going to throw. I know he's going to throw me. It's going to come 3 quarters, and he's going to come right. He's going to throw gas. I'm going to take it. I'm going to hit it right at the right center field, which is my forte. I'm just going to pop it up the middle, go to right field. I'm going to win this game. And I confidently walking up to the hill, the batter's box, and I get a whistle from Darryl Johnson, and he says, he just tells me, come on back, because my good friend, Big Bob Robertson, that's what he did. He was the pinch hitter. He went up there and pinch hit for me. And Goose went boom, 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 three right down there, 3 big cuts from the big redhead. Number 7, Bobby Robertson. What a great friend he was. Tremendous man. It was just a pleasure to be playing with him. Funny, too.
He was a star with Pittsburgh.
But I was, I said, guys, I looked up at my father and I said, like that. He was like, oh, God, what the, let him, you could just see his face just drop. He said, this isn't Little League, baby. This is the big leagues, and you got to let Bobby. He's making big money. That's what he does. He wants to get the big hit. But the next day, I didn't play anymore in New York, and we played a 4-game series. The next day we went to Milwaukee, played a doubleheader, and I played both ends of the doubleheader.
Damn.
That was exciting. But I said, you don't play me. I said to John, you don't play me in New York where all my people are, but you play me a doubleheader against the great Milwaukee Club. I had a great doubleheader too. We swept. I got my hit. It was fun.
Kevin, did you ever play in St. Louis when it was hotter than hell out there on one of those days on that turf? I'm telling you, I don't know if you played in St. Louis anytime, but that was bad. So.
Oh my goodness, I heard about it. It was like a nightmare. I mean, you got to soak your feet. I mean, you remember those spikes that we wore in those days too? I mean, there was no support, no ankle support, no support for the for your feet at all. We just throw them in icy bowls of ammonia water, excuse me, and just to ease the heat and the pain in the feet because of the, it was very, the turf in St. Louis was like playing on cement.
Yeah.
It was Portland, but I mean, it was hot. If it's 78 degrees outside, it's 108 on the turf.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad out there.
That's boy, Willie McGee, that's why he hit 380 is because he just bounced it on the ground and run like heck. He was great. I remember McGee. He played with you, didn't he? Yeah,
McGee was great. That was my last year, but I remember you sitting there talking about the turf, and I know I threw a game one day, and we were going out to Los Angeles that night to play the next day, and it was a day game, and Swisher was catching, and he caught the whole freaking game. Of course, he was kind of in the shade, but it had rained a little bit the night before, and we had an extra inning ball game, so we had a 1 o'clock game, and it ended up being 136 degrees on the turf, and I pitched the last 2 innings, and I lost 9 pounds, and that was just totally way far out there. I mean, many Anheuser-Busch products that day, so that was pretty good. So,
that's true. I mean, that's why Whitey, the White Rat, he decided, or LaRussa did, say, we got to turn this turf into grass. It'll cool the place down so much, and I think that was a good decision they made up there.
Without a doubt.
I think it was a great decision to have AstroTurf out of baseball completely because it players hated it. How many people's knees did it ruin? Like Andre Dawson up in Montreal. I mean, that pretty much took 5 or 7 years off of his career because he couldn't run on that damn turf up in Montreal. It was even worse than St. Louis's. Not as hot, obviously, but it was padding under it.
Yeah. No question about it. And it was like the worst I've ever been on was an undulating surface at Portland, Oregon, at that stadium that the Portland Club played at, and also that Neil Lomax played at Portland State when he played quarterback for Portland State. No wonder he had bad knees because not only was it wasn't even turf, it was like a paint on cement, and it was undulating. I mean, it wasn't a flat ground, and it was like playing on rock, and I couldn't believe it. The Lomax and the Portland State Club played on that, and we played on it. I played with the Beavers one year, and the only time I really liked it was when I got up to bat, because if you hit the ball on the ground, you probably got a base hit. That's probably why the infielders played about 6 feet back.
They could also bounce the ball to first base like Dave Concepcion used to do.
That's absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's right. He's throwing a ball from short left field. He's throwing you out.
Yeah. No nutties back then. No nutty buddies back then. But
well, you know what? We're getting close to that time, and Kevin, what we do when we get to the end of the show is, since I'm the starting pitcher and starting pitchers don't finish games anymore, I go to the bullpen, I go to the righty, and I go right to the closer.
Right on. There you go.
I got to tell you this. And you know all about this, Kevin, but I closed a little bit, and I always try to throw peas at the knees, no pies in the eyes, no wall balls, and you'll be just fine. And thanks for coming on, Kevin. We enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, I certainly, absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. It was such a pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity. Believe me, I don't get many opportunities like this, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, we'll get you back.
You just bring out some real joy in my heart, so I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Our pleasure. We'll get you back.